Have you ever told yourself, I have already let it go, but deep inside you still feel tight, angry, or secretly waiting for a miracle to fix everything? Have you ever stopped talking to someone, deleted all the photos, blocked their number, yet one unexpected trigger can still explode your emotions like a volcano inside? Welcome back to the channel, my friend. I am really glad you are here. In this space we talk honestly about awakening, wisdom, cause and effect, compassion, spiritual practice, and how all of this is woven into our fate and daily life. Today we are going to look right into a question many people are confused about but rarely dare to examine deeply. What is real letting go? Is it cutting contact? Is it acting like you do not care? Is it forcing yourself not to think about it? Or is it something completely different from what we usually imagine? The teaching behind the original text can be boiled down into two powerful points. First, what many of us call letting go is actually just a polished form of escape. We shut down. We avoid. We cover pain with indifference. We say whatever on the surface while our heart is still full of resentment and stories. That is not freedom. That is self-deception. Second, what the Buddha points to as true letting go is not losing, not giving up, not being a weak loser. Real letting go is waking up. It is the moment you stop fighting reality, stop running from yourself, and start seeing clearly how cause and effect work in your life. It is the maturity to take responsibility for your share of karma and to release what is no longer aligned, not with anger, but with wisdom. So, in this long sharing, let us walk together through this territory. We will talk about fake letting go and how to recognize it. We will go step by step into how real surrender feels in your body and mind. And we will do it through stories, very human stories, so you do not feel you are listening to abstract theory, but to a mirror of your own life. You do not need to be perfect to listen. You do not need to already be wise. You only need one thing: the courage to look at yourself a bit more honestly than yesterday. That is already the beginning of awakening. Let us start with a scene you might recognize. Mia had just ended a 3-year relationship. The breakup itself looked clean and decisive from the outside. She told her friend, "It is over. I am done. I have already let go." She unfollowed him on every platform, deleted their chat history, removed their photos from her phone, packed his leftover clothes into a box and left it with a friend to return to him. She even changed her hairstyle, reshuffled her furniture, and told herself, this is a brand new start. On social media, she posted a photo of herself laughing with a coffee in hand. The caption said, "Finally learned to let go." Everyone commented, "So proud of you. Queen energy. You deserve better." But late at night, when the lights were off and nobody was watching, the story was very different. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and her mind was not empty at all. It was crowded. What is he doing now? Is he already happy with someone else? Was I really the problem? Why did he move on so quickly? Sometimes she picked up her phone and typed his name in the search bar, then quickly closed it, scolding herself. Stop it. You already let go. Do not be stupid. When her friends asked how she was doing, she smiled and said, "I am good. I realized it was never meant to be. I have moved on." She had repeated those lines so many times they almost sounded true. But when one friend casually mentioned that they saw him in town with another girl, Maya's heart suddenly felt like it had been punched. Her chest tightened. Her stomach clenched. Her face went numb. She went home that night and cried silently in the shower. Angry not just at him, but at herself. Why am I still like this? I thought I was over it. I did everything right. I cut him off. I started a new life. Why does it still hurt? That moment, her so-called letting go was exposed. If you look closely, you will see what happened. On the surface, she removed all visible traces of him from her life. She deleted, blocked, and avoided externally. It looked like letting go. Inside, nothing fundamental had changed. She still took the whole story as a personal attack. She still felt like a victim of his choices. She still built her self-worth around his behavior. She still believed that if he was doing well and she was not, it meant she had lost. Her letting go was actually a form of refusal to feel, refusal to look, refusal to take responsibility for her own inner patterns. She was not letting go. She was pressing everything into the basement and locking the door. As long as the door stayed closed, she could pretend the basement was empty. This is how many of us live. We say I forgive you while secretly keeping a list of everything the other person did. We say I do not care anymore while still checking their status in hidden ways. We say I have moved on while still comparing every new person to them. We say it is fine while our body tightens and our thoughts keep arguing with reality. From a Buddhist perspective, this is a mind that has covered its own suffering with a layer of numbness. It is like putting a bandage over an infected wound without cleaning it. The wound looks less scary, but the infection continues and may become worse. So what is real letting go then? To answer that, we have to go deeper into how the Buddha looked at suffering, attachment, and liberation. In the teaching of the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha did not say, "Just get over it." He said, "First of all, see clearly that there is suffering. That is already an act of courage. Second, understand the causes of suffering. It is not random. It is not just bad luck. Suffering arises when craving, clinging, and ignorance meet outer conditions. Third, know that the end of suffering is possible. Not the end of painful situations, but the end of the inner burning that comes from resisting reality. Fourth, walk the path of practice that gradually dissolves clinging and ignorance, so that wisdom and compassion can grow." In the context of letting go, this means real letting go does not start from pushing away. It starts from seeing clearly, seeing your hurt, seeing your expectations, seeing your fear, seeing your illusions about control and fairness. Letting go is not something you perform to look strong. It is something that happens naturally in your heart when understanding deepens. Imagine you are holding a burning coal in your hand. At first you hold it tight because you think it is something precious. The pain increases, but you still cling to it because you believe dropping it would mean losing something important. Then someone shows you clearly, "Look, it is not gold. It is just burning coal." It is not helping you. It is only hurting you. When you truly see that, you do not need anyone to shout, "Let go." Your hand opens by itself. In the same way, real letting go is a natural opening that happens when you finally see, this way of thinking is only poisoning me. This resentment is only burning me. This fantasy is not reality. It is keeping me stuck. This stubborn attachment is not love. It is fear. The question then becomes, how do we move from fake letting go to real letting go? Let us go back to Mia. A few months after her breakup performance, she was still in emotional chaos. One day, a colleague invited her to a weekend talk by a meditation teacher. She hesitated. "I am not into these things," she said, but the colleague smiled. It is not about religion. It is about understanding why our heart hurts so much. Something in that sentence touched her. Her heart did hurt, and she was tired of pretending it did not. So she went. The talk was held in a simple hall. People sat on cushion. At the front, a teacher in plain robes smiled gently and spoke in a calm, grounded voice. There was nothing exaggerated about him. No dramatic performance. Just a quiet presence. He began by asking a question. How many of you here have had the thought, "I have already let go," but then something small triggered you, and you realized you were still deeply entangled? Almost every hand went up. Maya's hand rose slowly too. She felt strangely seen. The teacher laughed softly. "It is okay. You are not alone." Many of us confuse cutting off with letting go. We think that if we stop seeing the person, stop mentioning the incident, stop thinking about the past, We have achieved freedom. But if your heart is still burning, you have not let go. You just closed your eyes. He went on. The Buddha never told us to run away. He said, know your mind. Real letting go is not suppression, not escape, and not self-denial. It is waking up. It is seeing clearly what is happening inside you, accepting your share of karma, and honestly releasing the grip of I and mine on this story. These words hit me like a soft hammer. She thought of how she had been telling herself, I am done, while still making her happiness depend on whether her ex was suffering or happy without her. That was not freedom. That was bondage to a storyline. After the talk, there was a short guided meditation. The teacher invited everyone to bring to mind a person or situation they claimed to have let go of, and then to honestly observe their reactions. Mia closed her eyes. Her excess face appeared immediately. Along with it came familiar waves: sadness, anger, disappointment, jealousy. The teacher's voice continued. Do not fight these feelings. Do not justify them. Do not judge them. Just notice. Where do you feel them in your body? Chest, throat, stomach, head? Just breathe there. This is not about him or her anymore. This is about your own heart asking to be seen. For the first time, instead of escaping into thoughts like he was wrong or I was a fool, she simply watched her body. She felt the tightness in her chest as a physical sensation, not as a story. She noticed how her jaw clenched when anger arose. She saw how her stomach fluttered when the image of him laughing with someone else surfaced. To her surprise, just seeing these sensations with kindness did not make them explode. It made them softer. The teacher then said, now, gently ask yourself what part of me is still holding on. What is it that I do not want to let go of? Is it the person, the identity I had in that relationship, the dream of how things should have been, the feeling of being right, the need for an apology? Just ask. You do not need an instant answer. The question itself will begin to open something. These questions sank into her like seeds. Later, walking home, she realized she was not actually clinging to the man. She was clinging to the feeling of I gave so much and did not get what I deserved. She was clinging to the belief if it ended, it means I lost, and I refuse to be the loser. She was clinging to an image of herself as the good one and him as the bad one. Her so-called letting go had been an attempt to escape from the humiliation of not getting what her ego wanted. This is where understanding cause and effect becomes so important. From the Dharma view, every relationship, every encounter, every joy and every wound arises based on causes and conditions. You bring your past habits, traumas, and tendencies into the meeting. So does the other person. When the causes and conditions match in a certain way, you feel drawn together and a relationship begins. When the conditions change and the karmic connections are exhausted or transformed, the relationship may end. In this flow, there is no cosmic scoreboard of who lost and who won. There is only learning. If you look at a breakup with the thought, I am such a good person, how dare life treat me like this, you only feel more and more wrong. You put yourself in the position of a permanent victim of fate. But if you look at the same event with the thought, this is a shared karma between us, the outcome of both of our causes and conditions. I did what I could. What is left, I offer back to the law of cause and effect. Your heart slowly calms down. You no longer need to be the judge, jury, and executioner of this story. You allow something larger than your ego's sense of justice to handle it. That something larger is the unbiased law of cause and effect. Real letting go is rooted in this trust. It does not mean you become passive. You still reflect on your own actions where you weren't skillful, where you hurt others, where you betrayed your own values. You apologize if needed. You make amends where possible. You learn. That is taking responsibility. But after you have taken responsibility, you stop insisting that the outcome must match your personal script. You stop demanding that life pay you according to your calculations. You stop holding on to the role of a victim. That is releasing. A lot of people mistake resignation for letting go. Resignation sounds like this. Fine. Whatever. Life is just unfair. It is my fate to suffer. Nothing will change. People always leave. That is just how it is. This attitude looks like acceptance on the surface. But inside, it is full of bitterness and hopelessness. The heart has become hard, not open. There is no awakening there, only numbness. True letting go feels different. It may come with tears, but the tears wash something clean. It may come with grief, but the grief is tender, not poisonous. It may come with a sense of loss, but there is also a quiet relief, as if a heavy armor is finally being removed. When you truly let go, you do not feel like you have lost. You feel like you have woken up from a bad dream. You realize that the thing you refused to release was actually making you small, tight, and exhausted. Letting go does not shrink you. It expands you. Let us look at another story, this time about a different kind of attachment. Leo was a successful professional in his early 40s, married, 2 children, a good income, respected at work. From the outside, his life looked stable and enviable. Inside, he was constantly restless. At work, he dreamed of starting his own business and being free. He felt suffocated by responsibilities. Every time his wife asked him to help with something, he complained silently. Why does nobody understand me? Why can I never do what I want? He followed many spiritual channels and often shared quotes like, "Letting go is the key to freedom and do not cling to what limits you." One day, he met a younger woman at a conference. She admired his work, laughed at his jokes, and listened to his frustrations. He began to think, maybe she is my real soulmate. Maybe my marriage is just a karmic trap I have to escape from. In the name of following his heart and letting go of a dead relationship, he started an affair. He told himself and his friends, I have to let go of this marriage that no longer serves my growth. Real letting go is courage. But in reality, he was not letting go of anything essential. He was running away from responsibility and discomfort. He did not openly face his wife to talk about how distant they had grown. He did not honestly look at his own patterns of avoidance, his fear of intimacy, his tendency to chase novelty and abandon commitments. He used spiritual language to justify impulsive behavior. When his wife eventually discovered the affair, the family went into chaos. His children were devastated. His wife was heartbroken. The younger woman was confused, caught between guilt and desire. Standing in the middle of this storm, Leo realized something painful. The letting go he had been proud of was actually cowardice. He had not let go of ego, craving, or old patterns. He had let go of integrity. He had abandoned people who loved him without first doing the hard work of honest communication and inner reflection. In Buddhist terms, true letting go cannot contradict basic ethics. If your letting go requires you to lie, hide, betray, or hurt others unnecessarily, it is not letting go. It is indulgence. Real letting go might lead you to end a marriage, quit a job, or leave a toxic environment, but it will never ask you to abandon unkindness or honesty. It will never tell you to ignore cause and effect. After the crisis, shaken by the damage he had caused, Leo sought help from a meditation teacher. The teacher listened quietly and then said, "You thought that letting go meant throwing away whatever made you uncomfortable. But discomfort is not always a sign that something is wrong with the situation. Sometimes it is a sign that something inside you wants to be healed." He continued, "Before you let go of a relationship, a job, or a situation, ask yourself honestly, am I letting go of an unhealthy pattern? Or am I letting go of my own responsibility? Am I acting from wisdom or from impulse?" He invited Leo to sit daily and face his own mind. Not the convenient spiritual persona he showed others, but the raw truth of his desires, fears, and tendencies. Over time, Leo saw clearly that his life was driven by a deep fear of being trapped. He had lived in a controlling environment. Freedom, to him, meant constantly having an escape route. So the moment intimacy deepened or responsibility increased, he felt the urge to run. His so-called letting go was never about freedom from ego. It was about protecting ego. Seeing this was painful, but also liberating. Why? Because once a pattern is exposed, it loses some of its grip. Leo could now choose differently. He could say, I feel the urge to escape, but I know this is an old fear talking. Instead of running, I will stay and openly express how I feel. I will work on healing this pattern, not feed it. That is where real letting go starts, letting go of blind identification with your patterns. You are no longer completely hypnotized by your triggers. You start to see them as objects in awareness, not as the core of who you are. From the outside, Leo's life did not instantly become simple. His marriage went through a rough period. Trust had to be rebuilt, or, if that was not possible, the relationship had to be ended in as respectful and honest a way as possible. But whatever the outcome, his inner attitude changed. Instead of saying, I am letting go of this marriage because it limits me, he began saying, I am letting go of my illusion, my self-image, my entitlement, my careless use of spiritual slogan. I am willing to face the consequences of my actions and to learn. This shift, from blaming outer circumstances to examining inner causes, is a hallmark of genuine awakening. Let us summarize this not as a list, but as a movement. Fake letting go says, I am done with you, but secretly keeps replaying the story. I forgive, but still needs the other side to suffer to feel justice. I do not care, but still measures self-worth through the other person's reaction. I accept fate, but with a heart full of bitterness. Real letting go says, I see my pain and I am willing to feel it instead of dumping it on others. I acknowledge my own role in this karma and take responsibility for what I can change. I respect the law of cause and effect and trust that clinging will only bring more suffering. I bless the other person and myself to grow in the ways we need to, even if that means walking different paths. In practice, how do we cultivate this real letting go in daily life? First, we practice honest self-observation. When you say I have let go, pause and look inside. Does your body actually feel relaxed when you think of that person or situation? Or do you feel a hidden tension, heat, or contraction? Are you truly at peace, or are you simply suppressing your true reaction? If your body and mind are clearly not at ease yet, do not force yourself to wear the mask of letting go. Admit gently, I am still in the process of letting go. I am not there yet. There is nothing shameful in that. Honest humility is worth much more than fake spiritual maturity. Second, we stop using distraction as a main coping mechanism. Of course, sometimes a movie or a chat with a friend helps to give you space. That is fine. But if you use constant entertainment, endless scrolling, or rebound relationships to run from your inner discomfort, you are postponing the work of real healing. Instead, allocate even just 10 minutes a day to sit quietly with yourself. Turn off your devices. Sit or lie down comfortably. Bring to mind the situation you are trying to let go of. Observe your emotions and body sensations with a simple attitude. This is what is here now. Not good, not bad, just here. Third, we bring in the understanding of karma and shared responsibility. Rather than repeating, why did this happen to me? Shift the question to, what is this trying to teach me? And what patterns in me helped create this situation? Maybe you see a pattern of always pleasing others and abandoning your own boundaries. Maybe you see a pattern of giving too quickly, without discernment. Maybe you see a pattern of choosing people who confirm your low self-worth. This is not about blaming yourself for everything. It is about reclaiming your power. Because if you helped create this pattern, you can help change it. Fourth, we learn to offer the part we cannot control back to something larger. There will always be factors beyond your control: the other person's choices, their karmic debts, their awareness level, their emotional capacity. You can show up honestly, communicate clearly, apologize for your own unskillfulness, set healthy boundaries. Beyond that, you need to allow the river of cause and effect to flow. Some people like to imagine placing the whole situation in a field of light, or offering it at the feet of the Buddha, or simply saying, "I have done my part. The rest I hand over to the law of cause and effect." This is not superstition. It is a conscious inner gesture of not clinging to what you cannot control. If we actively cultivate compassion, starting with ourselves, when you judge yourself harshly for not letting go fast enough, you create another layer of suffering. Instead, talk to yourself as you would to a dear friend. "I see that you are still hurting. It is okay. Healing takes time. You are not weak. You are learning. I am here with you." As self-compassion grows, it naturally extends outward. You begin to see that the person who hurt you is also trapped in their own patterns, their own ignorance, their own pain. You do not have to excuse their actions, but you no longer reduce them to a one-dimensional villain. This makes it easier to release hatred. Sixth, we let letting go become a daily, small practice, not a dramatic one-time event. Every day offers tiny opportunities to practice. When someone cuts in front of you in traffic, you feel anger rise. Can you let go of the need to teach them a lesson and simply drive safely? When your partner forgets something small, can you let go of the urge to bring up every past mistake and punish them? When you fail at something, can you let go of the inner voice that insults you and instead speak to yourself with encouragement? Each time you release a small attachment, you strengthen the muscle of real letting go. Then, when big events come, you are more prepared. Seventh, we recognize that true letting go is always connected to awakening. If you say you let go but you become more narrow, more cynical, more cold, that is not awakening. That is hardening. Awakening makes space. It gives you a wider view. You feel your pain, but you also see it in the context of the bigger picture of life. You see the causes and conditions. You see the impermanence of all forms. You see the shared fragility of all beings. From that view, you can allow things to come and go without being shattered every time. You honor each chapter for what it offered, good or bad, and then you let it do its job of transforming you. When we truly understand all this, we realize that real letting go is never a sign that we lost. It is a sign that we woke up from a childish way of relating to life. The child inside us wants the world to match our wishes. It wants relationships to last as long as we decide. It wants effort to always bring the reward we imagine. When reality does not cooperate, the child cries inferent, either clings harder or shuts down. The adult in spiritual terms, the awakened heart, sees that life has its own rhythm. It sees that people, situations, and even our own moods are all subject to change. It knows that what truly belongs to us in the deepest sense cannot be taken away: our capacity for awareness, for wisdom, for compassion. So when the time comes to part ways with a person, a dream, or a version of ourselves, the awakened heart bows, says thank you, learns what it can, and steps forward. That is letting go. Now, before we close, I want to speak directly to you. Maybe as you listened to this, faces came to mind, people you thought you had forgotten, situations you swore you were done with, words like "I do not care anymore" that you used like armor. Maybe you realized that your letting go was more like freezing, running away, numbing out. If so, please do not use this insight as another tool to attack yourself. Do not say, "I am so fake. I did everything wrong." Instead, see it as a moment of awakening. You just saw one layer deeper into your own mind. That is precious. Many people go through their entire life never questioning their patterns. The fact that you see it already means something in you is maturing. You can walk forward differently. You can begin today with just one honest breath, one honest look, One small act of self-responsibility. Maybe you pick one relationship you always talk about as if you were only a victim. And you gently ask, what did I contribute to this dance? Not to blame yourself, but to grow. Maybe you notice one place where you are escaping in the name of letting go. And you slow down enough to feel what you are escaping from. Maybe you create a little ritual before sleep, placing your hand on your heart and whispering, whatever I am still clinging to, may I gradually see it clearly and release it with wisdom, not with fear. These may look like small things, but from the perspective of karma, they are powerful seeds. Each seed of awareness and compassion you plant today will shape your destiny tomorrow. Your path of practice is not somewhere far away in a monastery. It is in the way you handle your heartbreak, your disappointment, your anger, your endings, your transitions. It is in how you treat yourself when you fail and in how you treat others when they fail you. If this story and reflection touched something in you, I invite you to also share. Have you ever thought you had let go, only to discover later that you were still deeply attached inside? What did that look like for you? How did you realize the difference between escaping and truly releasing? Maybe you had an experience where, after much struggle, you suddenly felt a real letting go. The kind that left you lighter, more peaceful, more compassionate. What led up to that shift? Your stories are not just your own. When you share them, they become medicine for others who are walking through similar darkness. Somewhere, someone may listen to your experience and feel, I am not alone. If they can walk through this, maybe I can too. So please feel free to leave a comment with your reflection, your journey with letting go, your doubts, or your insights. This channel exists so that we do not have to pretend to be perfect on the spiritual path. We can be honest, messy, and still committed to awakening. If you found value in what we explored today, it would really help if you could subscribe to the channel, click like, and share this video with someone who might be struggling with their own version of letting go. If you want to support this space more deeply, consider becoming a channel member so we can continue making long, thoughtful content about awakening, karma, and how to live with more wisdom in a messy world. Most of all, as you turn off this video and go back to your life, remember this: real letting go is not the moment you say I do not care. It is the moment you finally care enough about your own heart to stop lying to it, stop feeding its illusions, and start walking with it towards the light of truth. You are not losing when you let go in this way. You are waking up, and awakening, in the deepest sense, is the greatest victory your soul can ever taste.
Life gets noisy. Work, stress, expectations. Sometimes we lose touch with the quiet part of ourselves. Bracelet isn't just an accessory. It's a small reminder that you deserve peace. You deserve moments of stillness. You deserve to hold on to your inner balance. If one of these bracelets speaks to your heart, you'll find the purchase link in the description below. And even more auctions available on our channel's shop page. Pick home the one that feels right.